Imagine if the true secret to building stronger, more fulfilling relationships wasn't about grand gestures, but about the countless tiny everyday interactions we often overlook.
Yeah, those little moments.
Exactly. What if those seemingly insignificant moments are, in fact, the actual currency of connection?
Mm.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating insights from John Gottman and Joan DeClaire's The Relationship Cure, a five-step guide to strengthening your marriage, family, and friendships.
It's a really foundational book.
It really is. Our mission in this deep dive is to unpack Gottman's groundbreaking concept of bids for connection and, walk you through the practical five-step guide he offers.
And you'll discover how paying attention to these small daily moments can create pretty profound shifts in your most important relationships.
Right, from your partner to family, friends, even coworkers. It's kind of like a shortcut to understanding the very architecture of human connection.
Well put.
Okay, so let's unpack this foundational idea. What exactly is a bid for connection?
Well, Gottman defines it as any single expression that says, I want to feel connected to you.
And it's incredibly broad, right? It's not just asking deep questions.
Not at all. A bid can be a direct question, sure, but it can also be a simple gesture, a specific look across a room, or, even a touch.
I like the example from the book Tina and Phil. Tina shares her feelings, saying, I miss making love too. I miss the way it used to be.
Right. And Phil's realization is so key there. He says, because you never told me that before. You never gave me that information.
Yeah, and that just highlights this core truth. So often bids are about sharing emotional information, and the connection comes from that vulnerability being met.
Exactly. And if a bid is the request, then a response is simply that it's a positive or negative answer to someone's, plea for emotional connection.
Okay.
What's truly powerful here is how consistently responding positively to bids builds what Gottman calls emotional money in the bank.
Emotional money in the bank. I like that.
Yeah. Think of it as this deep reservoir of goodwill and resilience. This money isn't just about good feelings, though. It's the buffer that allows you to weather inevitable storms.
So it helps when things get tough.
Precisely. It means that even during an argument, something deeper within unconsciously says, okay, I may be mad at him right now, but he's the guy who always listens so attentively when I complain about my job. You know what? He deserves a break.
Or, I'm really angry with her, but she's the one who always laughs at my jokes. Maybe I should cut her some slack.
Exactly. It's what keeps those minor disagreements from, unraveling the entire connection.
So if that's the case, what does this all mean for how relationships are actually built? It sounds like it's not these big dramatic events.
Not primarily, no.
Writer Anne Lamott has this great anecdote about her 10-year-old brother totally overwhelmed by a school report on birds.
Oh, yeah.
And his dad put an arm around him and just said, bird by bird, buddy. Just take it bird by bird.
Mm.
And that's exactly how our complex, fulfilling relationships develop. Bid by bid, one encounter at a time.
It makes so much sense when you frame it that way.
Think about making a friend at work. Your initial bid might be a simple software question on your first day. Tiny thing.
Right. Just testing the waters.
That leads to maybe a politically correct joke over the cubicle walls. Your potential friend laughs, invites you to lunch.
Okay, the bids are escalating slightly.
Exactly. Soon, you're taking a bit more risk, asking how they really feel about the boss. They tell you, you asked for career advice.
Building trust.
Right. And then a few months later, when your favorite project gets canned, where do you go to blow off steam?
To their office project.
Their office, of course.
Yeah.
You trust them now. And as the years go by, maybe you start getting together on weekends, having them and their spouse over for dinner. They learn all about your family, your childhood, your passions, your fears.
So the relationship grows in intensity and frequency.
One seemingly small, brave bid at a time. It's those countless tiny moments that weave the fabric of deep connection. It's not usually one big thing.
Which brings us to those crucial turning points in relationships, how we actually choose to respond to these bids, because that response is everything.
Right.
In his extensive research, Gottman identified 3 typical responses that really impact a relationship's trajectory. There's turning toward, which is about engaging and connecting.
That's the good one.
That's the goal, yeah. Then there's turning away, which involves disengagement, basically ignoring it.
Mm.
And finally, turning against, which is, a hostile or critical response.
Yeah.
Each choice, whether we're conscious of it or not, sets the tone for what happens next.
Okay, so let's talk about turning toward first.
Mhm.
That's the path to deeper connection, and you said it covers a wide spectrum of behaviors.
It really does. It can be nearly passive, like just a simple nod or an uh-huh from a parent when their child is talking about school. You're acknowledging them.
Okay, minimal effort, but still connection.
Right. It can be low energy, like saying that's good in response to a presentation, or a clarifying question like this Saturday when someone asks what you're doing, just showing you heard them.
Then there are attentive responses.
Yeah, those involve opinions, thoughts, feelings, often validating what the other person said. Like, that's nice, it's just the right color for you, or wow, what an awful day you had. You're showing empathy.
And the high energy ones.
That's full focus, enthusiasm, genuine empathy, really engaging with the bid.
So the core messages you send when you turn towards someone are things like, I hear you, I'm interested, I understand.
Exactly. I'm on your side. I'd like to help. I want to be with you. I accept you. It's incredibly powerful affirmation. And this leads to fewer conflicts, more supportive conversations.
And you mentioned something profound about kids.
Oh, absolutely. The research found that children from families where parents consistently turn toward each other's bids, well, these kids are more attentive, they do better in school, they learn to soothe themselves when they're upset. And they even have fewer stress-related health problems like colds and flu. It's amazing.
It just shows the ripple effect of these simple acts. There's that memorable anecdote in the book about the engineer.
The Snoopy one.
Yes, the Snoopy one, a very staid, serious guy, apparently. He trained his beagle to sit on its haunches like Snoopy.
Which is impressive in itself.
Totally. Then, one Sunday morning, he props the dog in the refrigerator, climbs up there himself in his underwear, and strikes a similar pose.
Oh my goodness.
His wife literally fell on the floor laughing. And Gottman calls that like the ultimate in playful bids. It strengthens their bond through pure joy and connection.
That's commitment to a bid.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not all turning points are positive, are they? And the consequences can be pretty significant. Let's talk about turning away.
Okay, what does that look like?
It often appears as preoccupation. Someone's looking at their phone, or maybe there's just no response at all, disregarding what was said, interrupting.
I think we could all picture that.
Yeah.
And the effects.
Well, unsurprisingly, less bidding happens over time. People stop trying. It leads to increased conflict, hurt feelings, a loss of confidence, and relationships often end sooner.
And what about unrequited turning? That sounds particularly painful.
It is. That's when one person consistently turns toward, makes the effort, and the other habitually turns away or even turns against.
That can't last.
It's not a healthy situation at all. It leads to immense frustration. And bidders, interestingly, tend to give up surprisingly quickly. In stable marriages, spouses only rebid about 20% of the time after being ignored.
Only 20%. Wow.
Yeah. But in marriages headed for divorce, people hardly rebid at all. They just fade away.
Yeah.
It leads to that downward spiral of attack and defense.
Okay, so turning away is bad. What about turning against? That sounds even worse.
It generally is. This response is characterized by things like contentious put-downs, belligerence, criticism, or defensiveness, really attacking the bidder. Its effects are severe. Even less bidding, people start avoiding conflict altogether, feelings get suppressed, and ultimately, it points towards the potential dissolution of the relationship.
And a bid can be sabotaged right from the start, too, right? The harsh startup.
Absolutely. This is when you try to connect, but you begin in a negative, blaming, or critical way. You end up getting the opposite of what you're actually after.
Like George, who had concerns about his job, but his boss just got defensive immediately. Shut down.
Right. Or Karen, worried about her daughter Courtney, starts with, "What time did you get in last night?" In that accusing tone.
Yeah, instant defensiveness from Courtney. No real conversation possible.
Exactly. Raises the walls immediately.
So if bids are the language of connection and our responses shape the conversation, what's driving these bids and reactions at a deeper, maybe subconscious level? That brings us to step 2 in the book, right? Unlocking the brain's emotional command systems.
Right. This is a crucial insight. Our brains have these inherent emotional command systems that significantly affect how we bid and how we respond. Think of it like, well, each person has a unique comfort zone within these systems.
A comfort zone.
Yeah. When we operate outside that comfort zone, we might feel sad, frustrated, anxious, angry, but when we're just right within our zone, we're likely to feel happy, calm, energized.
So understanding these systems is partly about knowing yourself?
But also about recognizing the similarities and, importantly, the discrepancies between yourself and others. Why you might react differently to the same situation.
Okay, so what are these systems, these individual sweet spots?
Well, Gottman identifies 7 key command systems. For instance, there's the Explorer system.
Explorer. Sounds adventurous.
It is. It drives adventure, seeking new experiences, intellectual curiosity. When it's underactivated, you can feel bored, restless, irritable.
Which you need stimulation.
Exactly. The author gives the example of his wife, Julie, who has a highly activated Explorer system. It leads her to climb Kala Patthar, an 18,500-foot hike in Nepal.
Wow. Not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not. His own Explorer, by contrast, is much more conservative. He prefers cultural exhibits to that kind of experiential adventure.
So you can see how that difference would play into their bids, right? Like who suggests what kind of vacation?
Absolutely. How they respond to each other's ideas for adventure. Then
Yeah.
you have the Jester system.
The jester. Sounds fun.
It coordinates play, recreation, diversion. It's often undervalued, I think, but it's crucial for relaxation, renewal, creativity, forming new bonds, stress reduction.
Ah, like the engineer with the beagle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the Jester system hard at work. The ultimate playful bid.
Okay, what else?
Another vital one is the nest builder. This organizes our activities when we nurture, care for others, express affection. It drives relationship building, brings comfort.
That seems fundamental.
It really is. And when children's bids are consistently thwarted, maybe because of issues with the nest builder system and their parents, they can suffer long-term consequences, social skills, academics, even health.
That's serious.
It is. And this system is also intensely activated when affiliations are broken, causing significant emotional pain. The book shares the story of Amy, who reconnected with her sons by intentionally finding these small niches of one-on-one time daily, really tapping into that nurturing impulse.
Right. So explorer, jester, nest builder.
Yeah.
What are the others?
Yeah.
Briefly.
Sure. There's the commander-in-chief, which coordinates dominance, control, power, like when you need to break free from restrictions or take charge.
Got it.
The sensualist, coordinating sexual gratification and reproduction. Gottman notes problems can arise when partners have different comfort zones here, but understanding the brain circuitry can prevent feelings of personal rejection.
Important distinction.
Then the sentry, that coordinates security, vigilance, protecting boundaries. And finally, the energy czar, which monitors energy levels and manages exertion.
Okay, so 7 systems. How does knowing this help navigate relationships?
Well, understanding these systems is incredibly helpful for navigating those similarities and discrepancies between people. For example, say one partner's commander-in-chief system is highly activated, very goal-oriented, and the other's sensualist is more prominent, focused on feeling good in the moment.
Okay, potential conflict there.
Right. A failed connection might sound like, why can't you just relax? My philosophy is, if it feels good, do it. And the reply is, it's not that easy, I just can't let go like that. No understanding.
But a successful connection.
A successful connection acknowledges the underlying need. It might sound like, okay, sounds like you want to take things at your own pace and maybe I've been rushing it. That's okay. You don't need to let go right now. In fact, you take the lead, tell me what you want, and I'll follow.
Ah, so it's negotiation. Recognizing the other person's underlying need and their comfort zone within their own emotional landscape.
Exactly. It's not about changing them. It's about understanding and adapting. Which leads us nicely into step 3, understanding your emotional heritage.
Emotional heritage. What does that entail?
By emotional heritage, Gottman means the way we were treated in the past and the way such treatment made us feel. It includes the lessons we learned about feelings as children, our family's overall emotional philosophy, and what he calls enduring vulnerabilities.
Past experiences shaping present reactions.
Deeply. Consider that powerful story of the woman whose father died when she was angry at him. That agonizing experience profoundly shaped her, driving her now to tell her loved ones daily that she loves them.
Wow. That really highlights how our past truly shapes our present interactions and our ability to connect. It's like an emotional blueprint we carry.
It really is. And that blueprint often reveals itself through 4 main emotional philosophies that families tend to operate under.
Okay, what are those?
The first, and generally the most effective, is the emotion coaching philosophy.
Emotion coaching. Sounds positive.
It is. Families with this approach have a high regard for emotional expression. They recognize and acknowledge feelings, sadness, anger, fear. They turn toward bids, they empathize, they actively help identify feelings and figure out what to do about them.
And this actually works better.
The research is clear. This philosophy doesn't just feel better, it leads to less divorce and better adjusted children, better grades, fewer behavior problems, less stress, even better health outcomes.
Amazing. What's the opposite?
Well, in stark contrast, you have the emotion-dismissing philosophy. People with this approach tend to minimize, ignore, or even joke about negative emotions, often because they fear those feelings might overwhelm them or others.
So they shut it down.
Pretty much. They turn away from any bid with even a glimmer of negative emotion. They say things like, oh, there's no need to get angry about it, or just look on the bright side.
Which can feel really invalidating if you're upset.
Hugely invalidating. Then there's the laissez-faire philosophy. Here, parents might turn toward emotional bids with empathy. They acknowledge the feeling like, oh, you must be feeling so sad, but they provide no guidance on how to soothe or solve the problem.
So empathy, but no tools.
Kind of. And finally, the emotion disapproving philosophy. This involves actually criticizing emotional expression, maybe associating feelings with weakness. It creates an environment where emotions are basically suppressed.
Okay, so 4 distinct styles.
Yeah.
And within this heritage, you mentioned enduring vulnerabilities.
Yes. These are specific, painful, past events or relationships that continue to strongly influence us, often unconsciously.
Like triggers.
Very much like triggers. There's that powerful example of the war veteran who, because of his combat trauma, unconsciously kept creating crises in his current life. It was like he needed to justify his constant state of tension.
Wow.
Understanding his past helped him cope, and it also allowed his coworkers to understand and support him better, rather than just seeing him as difficult.
And we saw this with Rick and Sarah earlier, too, didn't we?
He did. Rick's enduring vulnerability from his mother's abandonment and his grandmother constantly telling him he was worthless. That profoundly affected his ability to connect. His father's reaction of, oh, Ricky's just fine as long as he achieves, just added another layer of complication.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many of our own daily reactions are actually echoes of these deep-seated experiences?
It's a powerful question. The book really emphasizes that understanding your own vulnerabilities, being willing to talk about them, and truly listening, actively listening to other stories of hard times is absolutely essential for forming deep, solid relationships.
Okay, so we understand bids, responses, our internal systems, our past. Now, step 4 gets practical. Mastering emotional communication skills.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting with nonverbal cues.
You might be surprised to learn, actually, that people trust nonverbal cues far more than words. Studies show something like only 7% of a message's impact is attributed to the actual words used.
Only 7%, that's tiny.
I know. Then 38% comes from tone and pace of voice, and a whopping 55% from facial expressions and body language.
55% just from the face and body.
Wow. Yeah. So when it comes to facial expressions, specific cues reveal emotions pretty clearly if you know what to look for. For sadness, you'll often see the inner corners of the eyebrows come up, and together, Gottman links this to Darwin's observations of grief.
That subtle muscle.
For anger, the inner eyebrows are drawn down, and together, that knit brow look, upper eyelids might widen, lips might be tightly pressed.
And you often see mixed expressions too, right? Like someone trying to hide something.
Exactly, like a smiling mouth but sad eyes. Or that courtesy clerk smile forced, but the eyes tell a different story.
It makes you wonder why people sometimes avoid really looking closely at others' faces.
Yeah, the book suggests a few reasons. Maybe they don't want to bear the emotional burden of what they might find, or they associate intimacy with getting hurt because of an abusive past, or sometimes it's about maintaining power and control in a conversation.
Fascinating. And beyond the face, touch, voice, metaphors.
Crucial insights there, too. Touch, what sociologist Irving Gottman called tie signs, is a powerful way for two people to signal attachment.
Like holding hands, an arm around the shoulder.
Exactly. And studies show how touching varies by relationship stage. Like, men often touch more in early dating than it equalizes in serious relationships, and women tend to touch more in early marriage.
Interesting dynamic.
And context matters hugely, obviously. Patting a teammate on the butt in football is very different from doing that at a dinner party.
Hopefully.
Right. It's a powerful thought, isn't it, how much a simple touch can communicate? So being mindful of the message we're sending through touch is incredibly important.
And the voice.
Your voice also gives away a lot. Pitch typically goes up for most people when they're angry or fearful, moving from that low, relaxed chest register to a higher, tenser head register. Speech might get louder and faster, too.
And for sadness.
For sadness, pitch generally goes down and the rate of speech slows. You can often just hear it.
Mm-hmm. And metaphors, how do they fit in?
Metaphors offer these little windows into their emotional reality. Just like Alfred Noyes' famous line, "The road was a ribbon of darkness," helps us vividly imagine a scene.
Brings it to life.
The metaphors we and others use reveal our emotional perspectives. Sometimes they can even open doors into those emotional heritage issues we talked about.
That's a great point. I really encourage listeners to notice the metaphors they and others use. They often provide a fantastic springboard for conversation and deeper understanding.
Definitely. But despite all these nuances of nonverbal communication, the foundation really remains strong basic listening skills. You won't get far without them.
Back to basics.
Right. Maintaining the right amount of eye contact is key.
Mm-hmm.
Look more while listening, less while talking. Avoid staring, which can feel hostile, but also avoid complete avoidance, which signals disinterest.
Finding that balance.
Exactly. Think about that example from the book of an adult listening to a preteen girl talking about her braces. The adult doesn't jump in with solutions or talk about their own braces experience. Instead, they ask clarifying questions. They say things like, "So you felt kind of embarrassed then?" And then, when the girl admits she was secretly glad the boy noticed her, the adult playfully asks, "But now he can call you Metal Mouth, right?" And she replies, "Yeah, cool, huh?"
Huh. That's great.
It is. And that kind of active listening, without taking the spotlight off the speaker, truly allows them to feel understood and open up more. It genuinely builds that connection.
Beautiful example. So that brings us to the final step, step 5, finding shared meaning. Gottman identifies this as the ultimate goal for relationship stability.
Shared meaning. What does that look like in practice?
Well, it isn't just about having common hobbies, though that can be part of it. It involves actively cultivating shared interests, yes, but also shared values, aspirations, dreams,
Deeper stuff.
deeper stuff. And crucially, it requires a willingness to support each other's dreams, even when there's little to gain personally from doing so. This collective pursuit of goals, whether it's raising a healthy child or building a successful business together, is incredibly good for relationships. It builds a deep sense of purpose together.
There's a powerful exercise in the book about identifying hidden dreams within conflicts, isn't there?
Yes, that's a really practical tool. Consider Ken and Evelyn, that middle-class couple disagreeing over their daughter Madeline's schooling.
Right, the private school debate.
Exactly. Evelyn had her heart set on Forest's side, an expensive private school she attended, believing it had a better academic record. But Ken believed it would teach materialistic and elitist values, plus he worried about the money, fearing it would hamper their ability to save for college.
So a surface argument about tuition.
Was actually about much deeper things. It was about Evelyn's dream for a certain kind of upbringing rooted in her own positive experiences versus Ken's dream of financial security and instilling different values in their daughter.
So by identifying these underlying dreams,
They could find a compromise.
Yeah.
They could understand the deeper motivations, not just fight about the surface issue. It's about seeing beyond the immediate friction to the aspirations underneath.
that makes a lot of sense. And that leads into rituals of connection.
It does. These intentional practices, these rituals, enhance emotional connection. They provide comfort and security. They help us process life transitions, and they transmit values.
And they can be tailored, right, to those command systems.
Yeah, exactly. A commander-in-chief might prefer goal-oriented rituals like planning sessions, while a jester might enjoy entertainment-focused ones like a regular game night.
So what are some examples? For couples, maybe.
For couples, intentional meal times without TV, maybe with soft lighting.
Hmm.
Or that ritualized after-dinner coffee idea from William Doherty for intentional families. Really simple things.
Like calling or emailing during the day.
Perfect example. Regular vacations, shared financial planning meetings, even ritualized ways of apologizing or repairing feelings after an argument. Like always having that departure kiss before leaving for work each day. It's a small bit, but it can repair lingering feelings or just reaffirm connection.
And for parents and kids.
Bedtime routines are huge stories. Snacks, providing that security before separation for sleep. Rituals when a child is sick, maybe they always get the couch, chicken soup, special TV time. And thoughtful holiday celebrations that focus on connection and shared values, not just commercialism.
It extends beyond the immediate family too, right? Friendships, siblings, coworkers.
Absolutely. For friendships, regular visits, asking about their jobs or hobbies, being kind to their partners, offering help when needed, and importantly, not focusing exclusively on shared history, but building new connections too.
Siblings.
Similar things, family reunions, maybe on neutral turf to avoid old dynamics, sibling-only getaways sometimes.
And coworkers. Can you really have rituals there?
You can. Little things, like a manager keeping a jar of chocolates on their desk as a signal of accessibility, or designing performance evaluations and performance agreements that foster connection and shared goals. Rather than just being top-down judgments, it's about building that sense of mutual support.
Hmm.
And what's truly fascinating here, showing the profound power of this long-term relational thinking, is that story of Kurt the salesman and his cousin Dory.
Oh yeah, tell us that one.
Kurt chose to prioritize building a long-lasting, trusting relationship with Dory over making an immediate sale, even though it might have cost him in the short term. He knew the relationship itself would pay off later in enduring connection and future opportunities.
That takes foresight and faith in the relationship.
It does. And this kind of thinking isn't just, warm and fuzzy theory. It's backed by data.
Hmm.
Gallup polls, Lou Harris studies, they consistently show that workers value having a caring boss even higher than money or benefits.
Higher than money. Wow.
Yeah. And they're 4 times less likely to leave jobs where they feel cared for. It just shows that fundamental human need for connection, even maybe especially in professional settings.
So tying it all together, today we've taken a deep dive into these profound, yet in many ways simple principles from the relationship cure.
Mm-hmm.
We've unpacked how bids for connection are really the fundamental currency of relationships, how our responses turning toward, away, or against shape their destiny.
And how understanding our own emotional command systems and our emotional heritage can foster crucial self-awareness.
Right. And then developing those communication skills, especially nonverbal ones, and finding shared meaning through intentional rituals, that's how we solidify our bonds.
It's a comprehensive map, really.
It is. And, the book really makes it clear you don't need some major crisis like the earthquake Gottman describes happening near his home to suddenly start appreciating and improving your relationships.
No, definitely not. The time is always now.
Exactly. You can begin today in the smallest of ways, just extending simple, positive bids for connection and actively choosing to turn toward others' bids in a positive way.
Just making that small shift.
So maybe consider one relationship in your life where you'd like to feel a bit more connected. What one small positive bid for connection will you make today? Or how will you choose to respond differently to a bid you might typically turn away from now that you know the astounding potential impact of that choice?
It's a powerful thing to think about. Those small moments add up.
They really do.